Order the City Council meeting April 16th, 2024. Let's have roll call.
Mayor Truman.
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Bass.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory. Here. Councilmember Kerstetter.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Stamp.
Here. Okay, let's all stand for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance.
Would you bow your heads and all pray? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the men and the women who are giving their time, their energy to be able to serve the community. And thank you for those that are here engaging with matters that affect the community. Father, I just ask and pray for your discernment to help with the decisions that would strengthen families, that would support individuals, that would allow this community to continue to grow and support and carry out the vision that you have given it. Father, we thank you for your blessings. We pray for that discernment and strength and just unity together. We ask all of these things in the undefeated name of Jesus. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. For approval of tonight's agenda.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the minutes of the council meeting for April 2nd.
Motion to approve the minutes of April 2nd, 2024, regular council meeting as presented.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of April 2nd, 2024. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to presentations and proclamations. Anything tonight? Okay, moving on to the public forum. Is there anyone here that'd like to address the council on any items that aren't on the agenda? Okay. Close the public forum. Appointments. Don't have any appointments, do we, tonight? I think so. Old business. Moving on to new business then. Approval of the Hornet Hustle Race.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Allison Clubb, and I am here representing the Volunteer Hornet Hustle Committee. It is the PTOs of all of the elementary schools, Abilene, West, Wheatland, and the intermediate school. We hold the Hornet Hustle Family Fun Run in September. This year it's going to be September 7th. And it is the same course that we have done for the last 2 years. And we are just here asking for the city's help, specifically the police department's help in temporarily closing the main road as the runners go by on the route. So it's not a permanent road closure, it's just temporarily while they run across some of the intersections. So, stand for any questions.
Yeah.
Chief, you looked at this and you're okay with everything? All right.
Yep, we're good. Same route. We've done it for the last 2 years. We enjoy it. It's
All right.
Any more discussion? All in favor of the approval of the Hornet Hustle Race?
Need to have, we'll have a motion here.
Motion to approve the, Yes, staff
Yeah,
assistance
motion
needed
first.
for Hornet Hustle, September 7th, 2024.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the Hornet Hustle Race. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Allison.
You get to-
She's not going anywhere.
Oh, moving on to the citywide garage sales. She's still here. Oh,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Allison Clubb, Valley Center Chamber Director. And I'm just asking that the city waive the right-of-way for the garage sale signs for the citywide garage sales, the participants who have signed up their garage sales in the right-of-way, that be allowed and okayed until, I think I put on there about noon on Sunday. Past that, then it would be at the city's discretion to remove.
have any questions?
Make a motion to approve allowing signs to be placed in the right of way during the citywide garage sale weekend, April 18th through April 20th.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the garage sale signs within the right of ways. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the pool use agreement.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going over just the agreement between the Valley Center Rec and the swim team. Neil kind of helps out with this. It's this. There's a few changes. We raised the rate $100 just on some costs, on some time changes and stuff. So this is something me and Neil work on usually each year together. So we feel pretty good about it. They have 3 swim meets here in Valley, so they'll bring a lot of people to Valley Center, and those are the nights that it'll stay open a little later. They'll be there till about 11. So those are kind of the main functions of the agreement for you guys on your side. So, questions?
Yeah,
This is probably for Mr. Clark. On the agreement, it says the 11th day of March. Should that be today?
That was the swim team side of it. So that was swim team side of it. So we can.
Is it really, it doesn't matter? I don't, okay.
No, I wouldn't think that matters too much. You know, we don't really have much skin in the game. All we do is basically cover with the pool agreement with the rec commission. You know, it was just kind of a nice thing that we approve and agree on, so we see it as well, so everyone's on the same page. But our agreement with the pool is really a separate one that has concession stands and what have you, where we pay the difference of whatever Blake loses at the pool. Oh, sorry.
He's not going to do that this year.
We do our best to not do that.
I move to approve the agreement for pool use between the City of Valley Center Rec Commission, and Valley Center Swim Club, and authorize the mayor to sign.
second. Have a motion and a second to approve the agreement between the rec commissions. Any further discussion?
You really mentioned the reason why really is because we own the facility.
All in favor, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Moving on to item D, approval of the Harvest Place Design Agreement.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Samantha Garib and I'm with SEH. Oh, can you hear me better? This is the design contract for Harvest Place. Jay Kabasha will be designing this project, and then I will be overseeing construction in the fall. So if you guys have any specific questions or are in need of any further information, I would be more than happy to get that for you.
Matt?
How many phases will this be done in? 2, 3, 1? The whole Harvest Place, how many phases are they thinking?
I'm actually not sure, but
Okay.
I can find out for you.
I was just curious.
So of course, Councilmember Sam, when it comes to the grading and drainage, that will be done all in the first phase. And so the entire site will be graded. That's part of these professional services when it comes to what SEH is designing as well as administering. And then once that is completed, then the first phase of the water, sewer, streets, sidewalks, all those things will be completed. And then I think the developer wants to see how that goes and then how many phases will proceed after that. So the first phase includes all the drainage, the grading work, everything that we'll have, on that site will happen in the first phase, but then the rest of it will be phased out. It might be 2, it might be 6, it might be 5, who knows? So,
Okay.
But right now we're focused on the first one when it comes to design services and the construction administration agreement with Harvest Place.
Any further questions?
Make a motion of approval of the agreement with SEH for development design for Harvest Place, Phase 1, in the amount not to exceed $234,000 and authorize mayor or city administrator to sign. $334,200.
Second? Was there a second on that?
No.
Second.
He's now.
Question. That was a test.
Have a motion and a second to approve the Harvest Place design agreement. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And the approval of the change order number 3 for Prairie Lakes Regional Detention Basin.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Before you, yes, there is finally dirt moving again out on the TIP district where the Prairie Lakes Regional Detention Basin project is continuing to proceed forward now. Of course, when they left back in, what was that, 2022, 2022, it was over 20 months that we're working through things with the Corps of Engineers. And so that's why it had stopped. Of course, from that time till now is then when things have now started to proceed forward again. And with that comes a change order for time for remobilization because the original agreement that we had with them did have a time frame and it was a different year. And so these things happen when it comes to projects. The positive thing is that we built enough wiggle room and guards in place when it came to this project in the TIF district to really look at the overall TIF district itself and not just one specific component. And so we are able to absorb these change orders just like what we did with Prairie Lakes when we did the clay liner in that pond for that phase 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Prairie Lakes, which was part of the grading work. And so in this too, what we had actually calculated for and planned on when we proposed this project was a substantially larger dollar amount in the dirt work portion. So when we bid the project, this came in substantially lower than what the project plan had budgeted for the dirt work component of the regional detention basin. And so that's what gave us that additional room to where when we bonded the project and issued our temp notes, we still have plenty of room to absorb this change order in the amount of $250,245 that we did negotiate too, by the way. So it was higher than that, but we were able to, with the help of SEH, negotiate that total price down for you.
Yeah.
Timeline, I know we're 20 months behind schedule, but any ideas on when we'll start seeing anything other than dirt work?
So of course, Prairie Lakes phase 3 that we have homes going up now, this is a part of that TIF district area. And so we are seeing homes go up. Of course, then with Prairie Lakes phase 4 that you approved here recently, that construction will get started. So we are seeing homes going up in the TIF district.
What about the north side of
the north side? Hopefully, I know that there was a potential purchaser of the entire Trails End subdivision area, the residential. I haven't heard anything recently within the last week on that, but I know
Okay.
that one developer is looking at purchasing that from the original Landmark or Iron Horse. Iron Horse, they mainly want to do the commercial side and the commercial corner. That's really what their bread and butter is. And so they, were planning on piecing off the residential sections of this development. So, with that said, the grading work, that should be done hopefully, late summer, early fall, the latest. Unruh is pulling off and doing some other jobs because, we couldn't guarantee them this work. So they did bid other jobs. The positive thing is that they are in the area. And so, it shouldn't take too much longer. So we're kind of at the subject of, at the mercy of their schedule after we delayed it for so long, thanks to the Corps. I did check with the Corps of Engineers during our many calls that we've had over the 20 months of if there are any, funds, discretionary funding or, allocations to help cover the costs, because this is just on the dirt work portion. I mean, this isn't the amount, about $1,000 a day that the developer has lost. But they said, unfortunately, in the American Recover or the Build America Back Again, the Build Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill or the carbon reduction, or all the money that is trickling down, there is no funds available for these types of situations. So, sorry to be sarcastic there, but there aren't any funds, and so the land itself and the area of the TIF district as a whole will absorb this. And like I said before, we have plenty in the TIF overall budget to cover these expenses, and still have our park budget allocation still available for us as well.
Anything else? Chris?
So just to make sure we have the funds for all of this, I want to make sure I understood that in that long answer.
Yes, in the TIF district, those are separate funds. If you recall how the TIF district works. And so the base valuation was frozen on that TIF district boundary area, and all the incremental increases that we're planning on will cover that bond debt.
Okay.
Matt?
I will throw in that dealing with the Corps of Engineers is like dealing with the railroad. They're their own entity, and you're not going to push them or bully them one bit. So
Good to know.
That sucks.
Any other questions?
Motion to approve the change order number 3 for Prairie Lakes Regional Detention Basin in an amount not to exceed $250,245 and authorize mayor or city administrator to sign.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the change order number 3 for Prairie Lakes Regional Detention Basin. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the approval of the budget calendar.
Mayor and council. So for you have the proposed 2025 or fiscal year 2025 budget calendar. There are no major changes between this one and the previous 2 years. Luckily, there are no holidays on any meetings this year. I do want to mention on June 14th, officially Sedgwick County does have till the 15th to give us our evaluation numbers, but that falls on a Saturday, which is why that says the 14th. And then there is a typo on your copy on September 17th. It says fiscal year 2024. I have fixed that, so that's been corrected. But
Any questions?
Move to adopt the proposed 2025 budget calendar.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the 2025 budget process calendar. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Moving on to ordinance 140524, authorization and the insurance of GO bonds.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Garth Herman with Gilmore and Bell, the city's bond council. I appreciate you having me out here tonight. This item and then the next item are related, and what they relate to is the variety of steps you've taken to this point. We're going through the special assessment process for the Cedar Ridge and the Arbor Valley projects. authorizing a variety of the CIP projects, going through that process to authorize the sale of these bonds at your meeting last month. All of that led up to this morning. We're at 10 o'clock this morning. My firm, working with the city as well as Piper Sandler, your financial advisor, was able to hold that sale. You were able to get 3 bids on the sale of your general obligation bond series 2024. The 3 bids, frankly, they were very tight. The winner of the sale was TD Securities, and how we award the sale is based on the lowest true interest cost to the city. As you can see, the TD Securities was at 3.93%, which was the lowest. The next closest bid and then the last place bid, you actually had to go out 4 decimal points to separate those two. And both of those bids were still within about 300ths of the winning bid. So altogether, very tight grouping. Usually what that means is that the winning bid was very good and it was right on the market. And so, as I said, that was the true interest cost. The low bid was from TD Securities. So the plan for tonight then would be to formally award the sale of the bonds to TD Securities, as well as to pass the bond ordinance and adopt the bond resolution. Before we get to those specific items, I want to go over a couple more things. One is no, you're on the right page there. Yeah, as Brent shows you, so this is the maturity schedule for the bonds. So the first principal payment on the bonds is going to be paid on December 1st, 2025. The last payment will be made on December 1st of 2044. Most of the revenue to repay these bonds is going to come from those special assessments that you've already levied. They'll be certified to the county clerk this summer and put on the tax rolls for this year. And as I've mentioned, those will be going towards the payment of the Cedar Valley or the Cedar Ridge and the Arvin Valley special assessment projects. In addition, these bonds were sold with what's called an optional redemption feature, which means that at a point in the future, if interest rates are lower and you have the opportunity to refund these bonds or save interest rates, you have that ability. In addition, if for some reason, if you have excess revenues and you would like to use those to pay off these bonds, you'd also be able to do that. That first date that will be available is December 1st of 2031. So about 7 years in the future, these bonds are not going to be prepayable, but then beginning in 2031 and thereafter, assuming market conditions are good, you would have that opportunity to come in, refund these bonds and save a little bit of interest, get a little bit of interest cost savings off them. With regards to kind of the formal steps that are necessary after this meeting, so assuming adoption of the bond resolution and bond ordinance, and what my firm will do is we'll work to compile all the documents, make sure that they're approved by the Attorney General's office. The bonds themselves will be registered with the state treasurer. They'll be sent off to the DTC company to hold pending closing. Closing will occur on May the 2nd of this year. We'll not need to have a city council meeting on that date or anything like that. But in essence, on closing, that's when the bonds are formally turned over to the possession of TD Securities. In exchange, the purchaser is going to send you the money. Now, on this type of a transaction, since all of the costs of the projects included in here have already been paid from the issuance of 2 of your temporary notes, then in essence, at closing, that money, which would normally come to the city, you would use it to pay project costs. In this case, you don't have any other project costs to pay. So that money is actually going to go to the city, and then it will be used to turn around and pay off those temporary notes that were originally issued to finance those projects that you can see up there. All of that is going to happen fairly mechanically. It's going to be laid out in a closing memo that the folks at Piper Sandler are going to put together, and we're going to make sure that everybody understands what the process is on that. So really, this is kind of the last formal action that the governing body will need to take with regards to these bonds. So I'll pause for any questions at this point.
Dale?
Actually, let Robert go first.
Robert?
So you mentioned basically we have an option here for basically what is a refinance at some point in time after a 7-year period. How many options of that do we have within that next 13 years of this 20-year bond? Is it a one-time option or a multiple time option?
In essence, it'll probably be a one-time option. So if you use it once and you refund all of the outstanding bonds, then these bonds will go away Then you'll have a new bond in its place. That new bond will have a similar option to pay it off early, but it'll have its own probably 7 to 10 year period where before that it'll actually kick in.
And fees involved in that?
But with doing a
Roughly.
new bond issue, there will be a new fee. And I'm not going to get out of my lane, but I'm going to get pretty close to the edge of my lane right here. And so usually when the city and financial advisor and us, when we're looking at potential refunds, one of the things that Piper Sandler always prepares is basically information about the estimated savings of doing that new refunding deal. Those savings take into account the cost of issuing that. And so whatever that savings amount is, it's net of all costs. And so that's why when we're looking at that, usually we're not going to do a refunding just for the sake of doing a refunding. We're only going to do a refunding if it makes sense because that savings amount is sufficient enough to make it worthwhile to do.
I only ask that. I'm in banking, so I completely understand that, but I want the public to be able to understand that. It's very similar to refunding, or doing a refinance of your own home mortgage in essence, that there are costs, but you want to look for what the net savings will be overall. So thank you.
Dale?
Could you scroll up to that, the other way, like the second page that he started with? So my question goes to total interest cost to maturity at rates specified. The one that you're recommending is the highest. Oh, keep going. Yeah. So why did FHN not win based off of that?
So that's a very good question, and I appreciate Councilmember Greger giving me the chance to work on my answer because she asked me that question as well. So it's a good question. And so what the difference is between that total interest cost of maturity, that's simply looking at the principal amounts and the interest rates that each bank bid. You add those up, and whatever that aggregates, that's what that total cost is. It does not take into account if there was any premium that was bid. And so, for instance, on the column right below that, you can see less premium if any. And so TD Securities actually gave you an extra $300,000 in order to buy these bonds. And so by getting that $300,000, the city was actually able to issue less bonds. They got a premium of $300,000. So in essence, you actually are issuing $300,000 less in principal. So that's a way to kind of save a little bit of that money. Likewise, if we scroll down, then we look at that net interest cost to the city. So that already backs out that premium, but still, one on the far right, it still has a lower net interest cost. How the sale is awarded is based on the final column down there, the true interest cost. And so what the true interest cost takes into account that the net interest cost does not, is it takes into account some of the cost of issuance that investment bank is actually earning. And it also performs what's called a present value analysis, where it in essence, there's a formula where it takes that interest cost over the life of the bonds and it present values it back to today. And that's how we come up with that true interest cost number. So in this case, it looks a little weird that just the interest amount for the winning bid is more, but then once you back out the premium, and then once you do that present value analysis, it actually results in the lowest actual interest cost to the city, which is frankly why we like to award the sales on that true interest cost, because it gives it the most accurate view of what the actual interest rate is going to be on these bonds for the life of the bonds.
Okay. It was a little over my head, but you did pretty decent. I'll be honest.
Anytime I start talking about present value, that's when I know that it can get out there.
You want to talk about science, it won't be over my head. But yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? We get a motion to approve.
Move to accept the bid from TD Securities and authorize the mayor and the city clerk to execute the bid form selling the bonds.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 140524.
No.
No?
The first one.
This one.
This is the first.
Okay, the TD Security, excuse me. And is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Motion to waive first reading of ordinance 1405-24.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to waive ordinance 1405-24. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
I make a motion authorizing the issuance of general obligation bond series 2024-1, providing for the levy and collection of annual tax to pay principal and interest.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the insurance of obligation bonds, series 2024-1. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you.
Don't need to go to the resolution. Okay, all right. That was for the ordinance. I got you. For the resolution itself, okay.
We'll move on to resolution.
And so this will be the resolution that contains all the form and the details of the bond itself. So those repayment terms that we were talking about, the final interest rates, that optional redemption feature, those types of things. Those are what are contained in this document itself. So as before, I'll pause for any questions, but if not, I would request a motion, a second, and a vote to adopt the resolution.
Move to adopt Resolution 755-24, which prescribes the form and details of and authorizes and directs the sale and delivery of GO bonds, Series 2024-1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, but I have a comment. Dale?
I just want to you to restate, this is all going to be paid for through special taxes.
Not all paid through special taxes. So the portion of this bond that is financing the Cedar Ridge and the Arbor Valley projects.
Okay.
Those will be repaid from the special assessments. The fire truck piece of this and the forward piece of this are going to be repaid from ultimately the city bond and interest tax loans, unless there are other funds available to make those payments.
Okay. All right. I just wanted clarification just for.
And real quick, important clarification on that. It's one of the reasons why, we try to kind of, compile or, have quite a few projects in one issuance to kind of help with that overall issuance cost. And so we were actually able to save, I think it was like roughly $120,000 on those two subdivisions by combining all of them like we did. And then we were able to break it out, on the back end ourselves when it comes to, what specials are paying, what fire trucks get, all those instead of issuing, 4 different bonds. So it's one of the things that I've always liked to do, to try to save everyone a penny. So.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve resolution 75-24. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Nice.
Moving on to staff reports.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to share with you a reminder that the very first farmers market event for the season, the 2024 season with Main Street Valley Center Farmers Market, will be upcoming on May 2nd. That's a Thursday. May 2nd at the same location that it has been on Main Street. It'll be from 4 to 8 p.m. So if you chance to come out, come to the first farmers market event on May 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Neil?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Got a few announcements to bring to your attention. I'll start with the probably the most important one. Park restrooms are open as of last week. Yeah. And moving on, we are in full pool prep mode, working again to get the pool open, and of course the splash pads they'll be open by Memorial Weekend. Friday of Memorial Week, or excuse me, Saturday of Memorial Weekend is always free day at the swimming pool. So wanted to make that announcement. Thirdly, the Parks and Public Buildings Group is going to be doing a cemetery cleanup in preparation for our spring maintenance out there at the cemetery, and we just wanted to put that out there to you all. It's not something that's normally done real heavily, but times have gotten really busy, and we're taking more of an interest in taking care of those interests, but more of a proactive approach to getting rid of those things that are faded, non-compliant, so on and so forth. But we just wanted to put that out there. I wanted to make it aware to you all that we have posted this on our social media to make folks aware. We have a sign out there at the cemetery as well, and we have also posted it on our city's website.
What was the dates on that again, Neil?
On the cleanup out there, we will begin the week of April 22nd. Pardon? Oh, it will be. Excuse me. Okay. And what was our question?
Oh, no, I just said, sorry, I just got it.
Okay. Yes. The next thing I had was just to mention that there's lots of progress going on the Lions Park splash pad project, as well as the Rec and Aquatics project. You all probably received from Administrator Clark an update from McCown Gordon today, but the splash park is coming along well. That's our next most important thing going on with the pool, making sure that that's done in conjunction with the opening date of Memorial Weekend. So I wanted to mention that. And along with other projects, I know there's been some questions come up about when's the Ford and Broadway welcome sign going to get going again. Well, we've got forward movement again, dirt moving over there as of last week. We've got riprap in on the backside and down in the drainage ditch, and for the site pad, and the sign base is actually being worked on currently as we speak this last couple of days. So we're expecting our stonemason to get started later this month, towards the end of April. So, and then lastly, the last thing I wanted to bring up is for 23 years in a row, the city has been again awarded the Tree City USA award. It's an annual thing that we've received. There's several hoops we jumped through, and this was laying on my desk before I put it in the frame. I decided to bring it and just as a reminder and show it off a little bit. The reason we are awarded this is we have a public properties and outdoor spaces board, which is part of our tree board. Tree board falls under that. The city, as part of our operating budget, dedicate funds to tree maintenance in a particular line item that helps pay for trees and tree maintenance. Activities that are done by the Public Properties and Outdoor Spaces Board, hosting meetings and carrying an ordinance. So all those are requirements that's the reason why we have that, get that award each year. So, and for any questions other than that, thank you.
I have a question.
Ben?
Neil, remind me, and this may be for Mr. Clark too, are we doing an entrance sign as part of the South Meridian project? Were we doing something at 69th? It was that, I can't remember. I know we talked about it, but.
We did, and as part of the project, you did vote to approve 3 signs, but we, if you may recall, we voted to or hold off on that third sign until the, plans for that redesign of that area could be finalized, not knowing exactly where the placement might be or how we might, utilize that area down there. I have more to add on that, but that was the general term. We're going to hold off and just do two.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, definitely the two. So they would be matching. Of course, then the third one with the roundabout not being approved yet at that time, formally we wanted to hold off. So then we'll fill the roundabout with a whole bunch of beautiful things and a sign that will fit that roundabout versus having something off to the side where like the pop print sign is. So hopefully wagon tails. So hopefully the wagon tail sign can stay, and then we'll have a beautiful entryway, monument or some beautification, trees, all those things in that roundabout like you're supposed to have. You're not supposed to see through the roundabout. Don't know if people know that. You're supposed to look left. But so that will be, designed and brought before you at a later time. Also, too, Public Properties Outdoor Spaces Board does have an open position. And so wanting to make sure that, if people want to have their voices heard when it comes to designs, like inside the roundabout for the new welcome sign, their voices too can be heard. So want to give a quick plug like Neil said before for that.
Thank you.
Chris?
Neil, I just wanted to ask you, do you have a estimated completion date for the one that's on Ford and Broadway?
Not at this time, because there's other things that have been put on hold. So it's a matter of getting the contractors back on board that are going to be completing like the electrical and getting Evergy out there, some timing things. And this has all kind of just recently happened. So I haven't had a whole lot of chance to reach out to them and start getting those folks back on board. Literally, we finished the dirt work on Friday, or I believe it was on Friday, and the riprap, and then our sign company was out starting yesterday. So that's how quick the turnaround has been. So it's a matter of me getting back with those folks and recommitting on those times and getting them squared away.
Okay.
With as quick as they're moving on the sign, I don't want to throw out for sure's or anything, but it seems like it's going to move forward fairly quickly. And my hopes are get it in time for the fall festival time frame again, not soon. So,
And the idea is to mirror the one that we already have.
yes.
Okay.
The landscaping may be a bit different because of the site over there. It's a much tighter site, but general terms, the sign will be the exact same dimensions.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Lloyd? DC, we got anything?
Missed one.
Oh, Rod. Got Rodney. Skipped right over him.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, members of council. To start out, you may have seen the notice, the brush pile is closed this week. Sedgwick County was kind enough to come back one more time and grind up that mountain of brush we had and create our chip pile that was already a big pile, way, way bigger. So they'll be in there this week running that hammer mill, which is why we really can't have anyone in there just due to the nature of the operation. So we were told they'll be there all week this week, could possibly run into a day or two next week. So they'll be here doing that. Our roadway services upgrade, which we used to call mill and overlay, that you approved a few months ago. There's been movement on that. All the curb and gutters complete. They've paved Hickory and Elm. They've got First Street and Cedar paved. I did get a notice today that when they're moving their equipment out from that area, the little section just east on First Street between Cedar and the railroad tracks, they're going to have to come back in and redo that because their move truck got in there. So they're going to have to come back and redo that. So he said, we'll just fix that. And they're moving that truck. So to say there's been things happening on the Meridian corridor would be an understatement. There's been a lot happening on the Meridian corridor. So barring any real bad things, we're hoping that most of or all the water line work is complete. During the last shutdown, there was a few hiccups with some notifications to some businesses, and I would like to stand and apologize for everyone involved in that, where we kind of stumbled and we missed the mark on that a little bit. Caused some people some undue stress. They have got all the new services installed in the north section on that new water line. They, I think, from Second to Main, they pretty much got the base in and grading ready to start paving. They've laid almost all the storm sewer all the way to Second Street. And they're working frantically on sidewalks. I think today they were coming in starting to bore for electric for some of the lights. So things are moving frantically. They're like stepping on each other up there. So, yeah, great question.
Ready? Thank you. Barry? Misty?
The last meeting, I said that we had hired our utility billing specialist. She is actually here tonight learning. This is Katie Crook, and she is our new utility billing specialist. She is originally from Springtown, Texas. She's lived up here in Valley Center about 4 years, and I'll let her say hello, and if there's anything you'd like to share.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm excited to be here. I love Valley Center and part of the team.
Welcome.
Welcome.
She's been through a billing cycle. She's been through shutoffs. She's been through the addition of the fees, so learning a lot. I also am going to be gone next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I'm going to a conference. This is a conference that Barry went to last year. It's for trying to contain some of our costs for health insurance. And so I am going to go to this conference and catch up to what we've been doing for the past 2 years with Pareto. So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. And last but not least,
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Did want to give you an update. We have had now the finance director position posted for a little while, a couple weeks. It did now go out on the GFOA, which is the Government Finance Association pages, the league. Right now we have 19 applicants, and so we're going to let that marinate just a little bit longer when it comes to those websites. Sometimes, it takes a little longer to get applicants when it comes to a department director position such as this. And so we are in contact with all the ones that apply through Indeed, and then we'll be starting to set up interviews as soon as Chrissy gets back. If you know of anybody looking, please encourage them to go onto our website, valleycenterks.org/jobs, and they can apply through our Indeed site that we have. Any any questions?
Yes.
Are they going to be able to start hopefully during our budget season? Or get thrown into the fire during our budget season?
Throw them in the fire during the budget season, you'll trial by fire. Desiree has been doing a fantastic job taking care of everything in the interim here. Already meeting with department directors as they have seen needed to just start discussing their budgets. And so, I feel confident in the team that we have right now moving forward. And when that next person arrives is just when that next person arrives. We won't skip a beat, that's for sure.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. Moving on to governing body reports. We've had some interesting meetings. We went to middle school last week to pep them for test week. So that was quite an interesting experience. And I got a thank you note from them here today. Also, want to welcome you aboard, Katie, and be good working with you. I think that's all I've got. Councilmember Colbert?
I have nothing.
Wilson?
I have nothing, sir.
Clint?
Nothing for me.
Ben?
I have nothing.
Ina?
Nothing tonight.
Dale?
I have nothing, thank you.
Chris?
I have nothing.
Matt?
I got a whole lot to say. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign.